So we just finished airing up. We did a once over everything while the Moab was doing its thing of airing up all the tires back 35 psi on the 40s. You're gonna have to keep an eye on the diff cover where I took and did my first diff fluid change. A little bit wet there, but once again, just keep an eye on it, check everything. And then anytime you go off-road, always a good idea to give the once over. So we've got a few spots here on the driveway, but those are coming from our rear differential. Today we are actually fixing a leak that we've got with our rear differential. We're also sitting about 15,000 miles, and today we're going to be using a reusable gasket, or at least trying it, on the Currie rear axle. And so we'll swap that out. Real easy job. So the OEM has switched over to reusable gaskets. I ordered one off of Amazon and we're going to give it a try. But one tool that we will be using is this new scraper I picked up from Icon. So love my Icon tools from Harbor Freight. But with that being said, let's get this started. Over here at the diff cover, we got some stuff we got to fix. See, there's a little bit of grease here, and then we got a wet spot down here at the bottom. Looks like we're leaking a little bit from this side. Now this isn't Currie's fault. I did my fluid change when I was supposed to after my 500-mile break-in, but we've also put 15,000 miles on the Jeep, so just trying to wipe everything down with a rag for now, just so we don't accidentally get any dirt inside. I mean, there's a lot of dirt, a lot of sand driving we were doing out at the Outer Banks. Quick little once over wipe down. I'm going to take that and I'm going to grab my wrench, break these loose one at a time. It might be that these are just loose too, because that one moved without any effort. Let's see how loose these bottom ones are. These bottom ones here are loose. Yeah, I mean, it could just be a pressure issue. Just for safe measure, I mean, I guess you could go back and torque these back down. That one there's not moving, but that one there moved a lot. And this side in general, yeah, they're moving way too easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip this down, swap out the fluid, and you know, if I wasn't making a video, I would just take and probably tighten these down a little bit to see if that stopped the leak. But clearly, you know, that's not the case. So you're gonna basically take everything loose except for the very top one. As you can see, that one was well torqued. Yeah, that fits a lot better. So the 8 mil is a little tight. This one is a 5/16. Put a little oil on there, maybe it'll slide in easier, which I think it will. There's that. And then really the sway bar is in the way. That one is a 9/16 14 mil. Almost the exact same, but not always the same. Move these carefully. Break them loose on both sides. Come back to this side. Break this one loose. And if you want to reuse your track bar with the Currie rear axle, you got to get these spacers from Banks, or you can go to Anti-Rock. With Anti-Rock, you may have to weld on some tabs. So might as well just take it all the way out. All right, drop that down, and I think that one's pretty well stuck. Alright, so now we can get to all of our other bolts. So basically, you want to get the bottom bolts loose. Just work our way around. Yeah, these are really, really loose, guys. So maybe the cover wasn't tight enough. But break them loose. And then you can use your tool for speed. And these covers are heavy, so just to let you guys know about that. They do have a washer in there. You would do the same thing for your factory 44. So we'll leave that one loose. And then I'm just going to start removing all these others. So if I remember correctly, you're going to have 4 long bolts, and the rest are going to be the short bolts like this. Your shortest bolts are going to go up at the top. Your 4 big ones are going to go on the sides of the differential cover. I guess, so now that we've got that, I just went and grabbed a small flat tip screwdriver. I'm going to try not to get coated with fluid here. So there, it just popped loose. The fluid is still pretty clear, so it seems semi-transparent. It's not brown. We'll just wedge that in there, and we're going to let this drain for a while. So it's exactly 3 quarts. The fluid is pretty dark. It is good we're draining it, so we're just going to let it drain. The Lucas is doing its job. It looks like it's entrapping a lot of stuff. And we'll know once we take that final bolt off up here that we left attached if we have any internal issues, which I don't think we do. I think it's just wear, knock on wood, and we'll check it out. Currie Extreme 60, it's a really nice heavy duty axle. This one's got the E-locker in the back, and honestly I think Currie makes some of the best axles on the market. We've been doing racing for years. We've gotten to meet the guys at a couple of shows, and I have yet to do my install video, but you know, this thing is just extremely well made. So it's almost quit dripping. Put my gloves on for the next part for sure. A pair of black nitrile gloves is what I'd be using, but I got these Milwaukee's, which I don't mind getting a little bit of brake dust and everything on. Also went and grabbed some brake cleaner out of the garage, some rags to wipe everything down. And as soon as you take this one out, this thing gets heavy. So right now I'm just using some friction to hold it together. Put our bit over there, and we're just going to want to take and peel this off and try to tilt it down so that if there is any residual in there, you can get it. There's still a lot of gunk in there. First thing you want to do, you always want to check for any metal debris down there in the bottom. Give your teeth a good look. Everything's looking good. It's all still covered with fluid, but I'm gonna go get this all cleaned up, and then what you want to do with the scraper is make sure you don't mar up this surface with the scraper or your diff cover over here. So all this gray we got to get rid of, and then that's where the new gasket's gonna go. So how I've always done diffs is make sure you hose it down really good with brake cleaner, just to knock loose any of the particles that are built in there. You're not going to touch this differential for another 15 to 25,000 miles. So it's the only time you're going to get in there and really see, you know, and if you get any issues. So you see some cracking teeth. Differentials are used and abused and often neglected. Well, we're just going to hose it down, and then we're going to wipe it down really good using some lint-free cloths. Just like we took our time cleaning it on the inside, we're also going to take our time using a scraping tool to remove any gasket material, being careful not to mar the surface. Alright guys, to use this tool, it's real easy. You want to make sure you don't cut yourself, but there's a flat blade screwdriver piece here. You're going to flip that blade in there around. Do not catch your finger on that razor blade, because it will cut you and it'll cut deep. So there's that. It's good to start somewhere smooth. Just like we're working nice and gently. Again, you don't want to mar anything up, so just work your way gently around. Try to remove all that old gasket material. Really want to be careful of the sides of the blade. and then try to keep it away from going inside the differential if at all possible. So here we're just kind of cutting it at a 45. It's hard once you get up around the top, because tendency is it's going to want to fall into the differential, but we're going to spray everything down one more time when we're done. For the most part, you're just going to go like we did there. And so the pan, you're going to do the same thing. Just going to go around it, try to knock all the stuff, keep it to the outside so you got less stuff you got to clean up for the thicker areas there. And these are also powder coated, so you just want to kind of be, you don't want to necessarily take the paint off, you just want to make the gasket mating area nice and clean. We do that, just going to take a rag, wipe everything out. There's still a little bit of stuff coming out of the differential. Wipe down that surface really good as well. You just want to get everything as clean and smooth as you possibly can. I couldn't help myself. I ended up taking the gloves off. Alright guys, so we've got our genuine Amazon gasket on here. I looked online, this one looked just like the low car gaskets. So, not sure how well you'll be able to see. Hold it over here in the light. Basically, it's got 3 ribs. It is reusable. And then we want to make sure our bolt patterns line up. And it looks like they do. I think it's going to be money. Now, I did double check online, and for a torque spec, now most stainless 60s are 30 to 40 foot-pounds. I double checked Currie because the bolts are different, and they are 25 foot-pounds. Just know that it's going to be 25 foot-pounds when we attach this. I'm cutting on the back side so we don't mess up our gasket, and then I'm also keeping the gasket inside plastic. I can give you a quick once over. Feels like it's pretty thick, it's got good ribs, so hopefully this gasket will work with our Currie 60, and it looks like all the holes line up, so I think it's going to be about perfect. So we've got our cover here, it's ready to go back on. We got our differential all cleaned up on the inside from what I can tell. I'm going to rotate, put our gasket on, our new gasket. We're going to run a bolt through to help us keep our gasket aligned, and then we're just going to take and line it up. Start it by hand. Now right now we're not putting any pressure on the differential itself. Alright, so we got a couple threads on that one. I'm just going to hold it in place. Take our blue Loctite here, put on a little at the end, because I think our bolts might have just, from friction, started working themselves a little bit loose. So again, our 4 long bolts are going to go where the axle itself is. Use a little bit of blue Loctite here, down towards the bottom. Got a few threads started by hand. We'll go back in a crisscross pattern and torque everything down. And hopefully this just keeps them from backing out in the future. So now I'm going to take my ratchet. I'm just going to run it down. Now this will do 30 foot-pounds, so you kind of want to be a little bit careful with if you got a Milwaukee like this. So there's one at the top. Do one at the bottom, making sure we got our crisscross pattern going. The bolts all have like a brass washer. So right now we're just trying to go snug, crisscross pattern, kind of like you would do for an engine head, just to make sure everything is evenly snug down. Again. And while I was on the phone with Currie today, I did order a rear skid for future. So that'll be a future project. Once that thing arrives, we'll install a skid plate on the Currie axle. I don't think we'll have much torque, because this thing is tearing through, making sure that this is well seated. Again, 30 to 40 foot-pounds for a standard Dana 60, and for our Currie it recommends only 25 foot-pounds. So we're going to start just like we did before. We've got our torque wrench set up to 25 foot-pounds. Everything's locked in. So that one's snug. Other thing is, I'm not 100% sure that I used the torque wrench on these before. We're just going to go like our original pattern. That one's 25 feeling. This torque wrench doesn't really click a whole lot, so kind of have to keep an eye on it. That one I heard it click, click. So we'll get these 4 here, and we'll make our way around the outside. Biggest thing is, with a hex key like this, make sure it's seated very well. Felt it pop. Hear that? If you want to get a better angle, ideally you want to pull down. So, heard that one. There's a tight fit on this one, these bolts. So heard it click that time. Alright, go back to where we started on the other side. These are the main bolts that hold the cover down. So just like an engine block, we're going to start at our middle and work our way out. Alright, there's that one. And then once this axle gets up to temperature, it'll definitely make sure that everything is well seated. So again, the hardest thing is making sure your tool is well seated anytime you're torquing an Allen's key. And I heard it that time. Alright, we're going to start making our way out. Heard it. Okay. I'm going to cross it again, just for good measure. When in doubt, reposition the torque wrench. Feel it there. Okay. Got the back one in here. Alright. Honestly, guys, I think when I installed this last time, I'm not sure if I used torque spec. I learned from my beadlocks, when you're dealing with these high tolerance, high-end off-road pieces and components, safety is typically on the lower end to just get them good enough. So I think that's good. We'll work our way around one more time just to make sure everything is good. Yep, no twisting there. Heard it there. Alright guys, we are torqued. Good to go. Alright, and with using a reusable gasket, there's really only one way to tell if it's sealed, and that is to fill it up. And so with the Currie, it only takes 3 quarts to fill it up. Clean up our plate here. We got some shows coming. That way it's sparklies, and everybody will know that, hey, got a Currie 60 under there. That doesn't look like a Dana 44. And no, my friends, this is definitely not a Dana 44. Cost me some money, but definitely I'm happy with it. Because as soon as we installed these, we drove across the country after we were up all night doing our fluid change. I think I'm feeling pretty confident about our work. The truth is, when we add the fluid, is it going to hold the fluid? And again, like I said, Currie said that, talked to Garrett today, who's in their off-road sales. So if you want to buy a set of Currie axles, talk to Garrett. He's their off-road guru. Okay. So there's that, and then pull our dipstick out. Now this does have this little rubber gasket. I pulled it off earlier and cleaned it up. This is magnetic, so ideally if you've got any type of debris in there, it will show up on the dipstick here. You'll have like a tooth stuck to it, which is bad. But we're going to pull our dipstick out, set it to the side, and we're going to get ready to start filling this. Alright guys, so one thing I typically do is I'll have one bottle. Cut it at like a 45. Launch that. And this will be our one and only fill. And then instead of having to cut off each individual, just reuse your cap. So we're going to take this off. Pull up our cap. Alright, now one thing you want to make sure is you don't drop that in there. So what I do is I'll take my finger, hold over here, spin you guys up so you can see us deposit the good juice in here, find the hole, and just let her run. The other thing is the GL5 rating here, and Lucas basically has all those. So if you look on the bottle, it'll say APL GL5, and bold highlight, which is what Currie uses. With anything off-road, they limit a year, you know, against any warranty and defects. Anytime I've had any type of question, I've called up, talked to Garrett, and Garrett's been super helpful. They also have a few other guys that work there, so don't be surprised if Casey Currie answers the phone himself sometimes. I'm sure he does, because it is a small family-owned business, and when he's not out racing, I know he's there at the shop. So team in general, you know, that's their name, and so Currie takes a lot of pride in their craftsmanship. You know, they've been doing this for 3 generations now. That's our first bottle down. Take that out. Took a clean rag, wipe it down, make sure we don't get any dirt on the inside. Use that to help shine up our cover a little. So again, we're not cutting anything new. We're just taking this cap. Might as well throw that away. Put our new one on. Put her finger over. Make sure it goes in the hole. Alright guys, it's 2 down. And definitely thankful for the Clayton Off-Road bend in their track bar, because it makes pouring a whole bottle super easy. One more bottle to go. Should be our 3rd and final quart. And tip, I buy these on Amazon. And I buy a 12-pack. And that way I've got enough to service the rear, the front, a little bit extra, because the rear is like 3 quarts and the front's like 2.5. So I didn't have enough left over from my last fill up, I don't think. Here that I got a lot of Lucas laying around, because we had to do the flush last time, so that was like, you know, 6 quarts front and rear. So I think I had like 1 quart left over. Alright, here we go. Final time. And I like Lucas. We use Lucas in our tractor. We use Lucas on our truck. Gear oil, just, you know, it's an American company. US, Canada, Mexico. And I'm pretty sure all their stuff is made in the US. Correct me if I'm wrong, leave a comment down below. Just looking things over, I don't see anything that says made in the USA on it, but I'm pretty sure Lucas is like one of the few that actually do make their oils in the US. Oh, we're almost there. We have 3 quarts in there. We're back in business. Thing we gotta do, take our dipstick here, wipe everything down. Any oily residue you don't get off is just going to attract dirt and dust and debris. Our clean rag, got our clean O-ring. Clean up our bolt a little bit better. Everything is looking good. I can drop our dipstick down in there, and we can go snug with it. And we have our power. We're just going to use this to run it down, but then Alright, I think that's all good. Hey guys, I don't know if it's 100% right. I looked online and downloaded the all-in-one specs for the Jeep Gladiator, and it was telling me 40 foot-pounds for these, so we're going to try 40 foot-pounds. Alright guys, I'm not seeing any leaks. I think we're good with our new gasket. Got our track bar bolted back up. And to say, we're ready to hit the trail. Hope you really enjoyed today's video, as we did an early fluid change on our rear Dana 60. I think that gasket's going to help out a lot, you know, make things easier. All we should have to do from now on is drain and fill, drain and fill. And with the number of times we've got to drain this, I think it's going to be great. We also, while I was on the phone earlier today with Currie, I did order a rear skid plate, so we'll probably do an install on that. We are still planning to get a Jeep Beach. I'm cutting out of the more Expo travel plans simply because fuel jumped up $2 a gallon. For diesel, it's $5.30 something a gallon here. And we will be down at Jeep Beach, whether on our own or down in a booth, more to follow. But we had a great time. in my mind, the Jeep is pretty much built and I want to get out and enjoy it more. So we're going to try to do some more adventure and travel videos. Do me a favor, go back. If you enjoyed today's video, go back and watch our Outer Banks video. We put a lot of time and money into making that. Spend a week at the Outer Banks, cost a lot for fuel to drive all the way up there, do a lot of driving while we were there, and we had a great time. I love making content like that, and now that the Jeep is pretty much done, I can go back to making some more off-road content for you guys. But we also have great partners like Outland Motorworks, who makes all these cool lights behind us. We have Taruka, who has her awning, Serco, and the list goes on. So again, huge thanks to our build partners. You know, Expedition 1 was actually our first build partner. Clayton Off-Road came along later after we did a install on our white Jeep and had a lot of success there. But a lot of these companies are super helpful. They're passionate about the industry, and we pride ourselves on working with the best in the industry. So no, I'm not going to sell you a bunch of made in China stuff unless it's quality stuff that's on par with like Toyo Tires and all these other great companies we work with. So with that being said, thanks again for watching. I get to share my dream with you, but the true purpose of this channel is help inform, motivate, inspire you guys to get out there and start building your dreams.